Okay, so welcome everybody. I'm going to share my screen now and show you the presentation, and I'm going to share again where the presentation is because I'm sure you guys would like to probably see where the slides are. So give me a sec. Share. Come on. Share and share my screen. There we go. Okay, hold on. All right. So welcome to ChatGPT for Learning. I'm going to put this here into present. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to set up something called Canva Live, which allows you to ask me questions right there on the screen, and it makes it easier for me to see when I have questions. So I'm going to set this up now. Don't know if you've ever used Canva Live, but it's pretty sweet. So what I will do is stop sharing just for a moment, just to give you guys in the chat where is it? Chat. And this is the link to Canva Live. There we go. Okay, let me share this again. All right. So you can also get to Canva Live by going to, I think it's canva.live, and then there's a code here, DFCGQ5WT. You can see it in there. And it's not the only way you can communicate with me. You can also use the chat on Teams, but because I'm having one screen over here where I am, it's easier for me to see when you guys have questions or anything that you want to say. All right. Oh, cool. I'm noticing here that I can see the people who are asking to come in, so that is good. All right, so welcome to ChatGPT for Learning, Challenges, Opportunities, and Real-World Lessons. I'm kind of excited to be here today. I am Dr. Chris Wildermuth. I am an associate professor at Barry University, and this session is part of the Mastering Leadership and Technology Essentials series. We have, or I should say I have, webinars every month on various topics related to either technology, leadership, or both. Today's topic is probably going to be pretty cool for anybody who is interested in understanding how to use ChatGPT for instructional design, or honestly, a lot of the tips that I'm going to offer are going to be used for anybody using ChatGPT, period. I'm going to be focusing a lot of my presentation specifically on ChatGPT because that is the particular AI tool that I have spent a lot of time in. But a lot of what I say will most probably apply to common AI language model or generative AI models as well. I'm not going to be messing with the theory of how things work or how exactly what exactly is happening with generative AI. I think I would need my friend Ken Cass over there to say something about that. I am a user, guys. I am somebody who really didn't mind getting my I don't know, hands dirty, I guess, and really trying and learning for size. And I've been spending a lot of time trying to learn this. Okay, so this is me. Just a little bit about myself. I live in Kissimmee, Florida. I'm the director of the Master in Leadership and Innovation at Barry University. That's an online master, so I teach via Teams and I teach online all the time. And I also direct an undergraduate program for learning adults in organizational leadership. I'm a huge Disney fan. I'm the typical Disney adult. This is my husband and my daughter in Epcot only just a couple of days ago when we went there. So if you guys come to Disney, let me know because I can always use an excuse to go there again. In terms of some light housekeeping, this presentation is being recorded. The link to the slides and the recording will be shared after the presentation is complete. I'm going to be sending an email, or a colleague of mine, Elijah, is going to be sending a message to everybody saying, okay, here it is. Here's the presentation link. Here are the slides. And also for those of you who need the Society for Human Resource Management number for professional development credits, to keep that crazy certification, as I'm sure we don't want to take that test again, you will receive an email with that number, and I'm also sharing the number at the end of the presentation. Please use the Q&A for questions during the session, and I'll do my best to answer them. You may also enter your questions right here on Canva Live, because then I see them right away on my screen. It's kind of easier for me to do that. And once you get into the slides, because there will be a QR code for them, then you will be able to use the slides to email Mr. Elijah Dias if by any chance you don't receive what you're supposed to be receiving. Okay, so I already said how I got started with ChatGPT, trial and error. As a professor, I got curious right away. My students and friends and family will say that I'm an enthusiastic early adopter of whatever shining toy comes my way. And of course, AI became a shining toy for me very, very fast. And what I was very interested in knowing is, how can I use it for instructional design? How can I use it to create activities and games and basically to make my classes more interesting? In terms of disclaimer, I do draw a line in terms of how I use AI as a professor and as an instructional designer. For example, I would not use AI to create content for a slide. I would not use AI to create a presentation. Like, the content is always my own. I will use AI to organize my thoughts, to brainstorm ideas, to code. More on that later, because I'm not a coder. I don't know how to code. And it's absolutely fascinating to me to be able to go into ChatGPT and say, I have this idea for a game and an app, and here's what I would like to see in this app. And then I see all that code coming out that not in a million years I'd be able to do that. And it would take me forever to learn how to do that. So I use AI to, I guess, make me into a Chris 2.0, still using my creativity, still using my ideas, but transforming them into things that I would not be able to do otherwise. I'm going to give you kind of my sequence of how I have, what are some of the things that I have tried and how I started. So I started very simply using prompts, like giving my learners, my students, participants in my programs, giving them actual prompts that they could just copy and put into ChatGPT and then see magic happen. So I would test the prompts beforehand, see that they were working, and share it with people. That's about the easiest thing that you can do. Anybody can do it in any kind of presentation. You don't need to be a genius in ChatGPT to do it. From there, I graduated into custom GPTs, and since I'm sharing my screen later on, I'm going to show you exactly where you go with that. And by now, I'm getting really excited about the idea of going farther than that and starting to create apps and games and things like that by using ChatGPT's coding capabilities. So that has been my journey. Let's go with what I mean by prompts and templates. This on the screen right there is just an example of what I could give to my learners, to either students in my graduate programs or in any presentation such as this one. So the prompt would be, create a short leadership simulation where I play a leader helping an employee with a tough decision. I will use John Whitmore's GROW model. Then I specify what that is. Make it realistic and interactive. I'm ready to begin. By the way, what I did to generate this prompt, and this is kind of tip number one, is I had ChatGPT help me refine the prompt. So I would go into ChatGPT and say, here's kind of what I would like to do. Can you help me refine this prompt? And then ChatGPT will correct my prompt so that the prompt is as good as possible. And then what I will do is I will test that, see if it's working. And once it's working nicely, then I can share that prompt with my learners. That's kind of step number one. Super, super easy to do. The next step is the custom GPTs. It requires a premium account, and honestly, I resisted tooth and nail paying for a premium account because, like most of us who enjoy, bells and whistles and shining objects and toys. I spend a heck of a lot of money in random subscriptions of crap. So I don't want yet another subscription. That one was $20 a month. I don't want to add that, but it is worth it. That's what I would say, especially if you're going to be using ChatGPT for instructional design purposes, or even if you're going to become more of a power user. It makes a lot of sense to pay for the premium account. And no, I don't have a darn thing to do with the AI company or, OpenAI, which is the company where ChatGPT is housed. Nothing to do with them. Not earning a commission, don't have an affiliate program. I'm just saying it is worth it because you do get better things. For one thing, you do get the ability to create a custom GPT. And I'll show you what I mean by that in a moment. The other thing is that if you don't have the premium account, you will probably find that ChatGPT becomes extremely dumb, I guess, artificial non-intelligence. It becomes kind of stupid after a while. After you've been using for a few hours, it's going to drop you to a lower level model, and then all of a sudden it doesn't work too well anymore. The long-term memory, which is one of the strengths of ChatGPT for me, is that it knows me, it gets me, it knows what my style is, it knows what kinds of stuff I like, it knows how to write as me, which is kind of scary. Those kinds of things are very limited in the non-premium account. So that's the first thing I would recommend is do get the premium account if you're serious about learning ChatGPT. Then what I do in terms of a custom GPT is, remember that I just said that I create prompts and I try simulations and I see how is it that a particular model is going to play out, or how I teach ethics. So how different moral theories would apply to different situations. Whatever it is that I want to do, I test it first in the normal one, and then I ask ChatGPT to give me all the instructions and everything that I need to create the custom one. And then I create the custom one. Once I create the custom ChatGPT, what I created is kind of there, it's set up. So let me get out of here for a moment. Let me see what I have to do. I think I can do just that. Let me stop sharing just for a moment, if you don't mind. And could you all give me a thumbs up if when I moved to the other page, you could actually see it? So let me do this again. I want to know if, oh, you could. Okay, great, because I wanted to see if you would be able to see my ChatGPT page. All right, so let me share my window again. Actually, no, not window. I want to share my screen. There it is. Okay, so this is my ChatGPT page. As you can see, I use it a lot. And all those things that you're seeing here are custom GPTs. So in order to create a custom GPT, all you do is, once you have the premium account, you go to the Explore GPTs area. Where is it? New charge, search, library, where it is. Oh, here, over here. So it's this Explore area, and then you go to Create. Once you go to Create, then it's going to ask you to configure, give it a name, give it a description. Hold on, I have to let somebody in. Oh, hold on. For some reason, that did not come in as I wanted. So get back. All right. So you name your GPT, you give it a description, and then this is where the heart of it is. You give it specific instructions, and then those instructions are going to be used for anything else that you do with that particular custom GPT. I'll give you some particular informations in there. And then you can actually upload files. One thing that I learned the hard way is that ChatGPT is limited in how much it uses those files that you upload. So you think that all that information that you put in is going to automatically use it. Not so much. It will if you ask it to, but what it will really use is the information that is here in the instructions. And that's why I test everything before, and then I ask ChatGPT to create me the instructions. Let me show you what exactly I mean by instructions. So I created a a custom GPT called GameCraft. Don't worry, I'm going to share the link to that. And that is a custom GPT that you tell the system what game or instructional activity you want to create, how long what are your objectives, what do you want to learn, what kind of game would you like to apply. I'd like apples to apples, or I would like a version of Monopoly, or whatever it is that you want. So you tell the system what it is, and then it helps you build that, or it even builds it for you, which is unbelievably cool. What's happening behind the scenes over here? So let me go to Edit GPT and I'll show you. You see here how I have the purpose and exactly what's going on, what questions it wants to ask. And in case you're noting these dead giveaway weird bullets that ChatGPT likes to use, yes, that's because ChatGPT helped me create the instructions for this particular custom GPT. So strongly recommend that. It's a lot of fun and you can create super useful activities. Okay, let me continue presenting here and present. All right. No, yeah, I am presenting this okay. Guys, at any moment, if something weird happens, please do let me know. I'm seeing here a question from someone saying how much are custom GPT subscriptions, e.g. GameCraft, for example. Well, first of all, you subscribe to ChatGPT Premium. You don't necessarily need to subscribe to each of the custom GPTs that people create. Some of them they charge, and some of them they don't. It really depends. You'll be happy to know that the ones I created, I don't sell them. I will just give it to you for free. I'm a professor, guys. I don't sell premium GPTs. That's not my thing. So I'll be very happy to share with you what I create. And there's a whole community of people doing exactly that. All right, so let me move on. Just make sure that I'm doing okay here in time. Okay, so these are examples of ChatGPT custom GPTs that I created, and you notice that when you receive the presentation, all this has links that you can go directly there. Branchcraft creates branched simulations. You know those simulations, choose your own adventure kinds? Those things are incredibly difficult to put together. They get big very, very fast. Branchcraft helps me create that. It helps set it up. One limitation to keep in mind is that the user or your learner may not have a premium account, and there's usually a limit to how many questions a person who doesn't have a premium account can ask. So you need to adjust your simulations or your activities so that it doesn't go past, my rule of thumb is 10 questions. So you can use Branchcraft. GameCraft is the one that creates the games that I just showed you. And Twinecraft, in case you're not familiar with Twine, it is an open access free software to create branched activities, choose your own adventure things. Super fun, but kind of hard to set up, a little complicated, a little overwhelming at first if you've never used it. Well, I asked ChatGPT to teach me how to use Twine, how to set up the simulations in Twine so that I didn't have that limitation of only 10 questions anymore. And it gave me the entire thing. It guided me through the entire process, and now I can use Twine as well. In fact, by now I have graduated to creating apps using JavaScript, which is also generated by ChatGPT. So I'm a happy customer right now. Here is me going on. There is a site called lovable.dev. If you want the premium account, you have to pay. I can't remember how much it is. I don't know, maybe 20 bucks a month or something like that. But you have the ability to use a certain amount every day. You can do some coding every day on an app. and I used ChatGPT to teach me how to create those. And when I send you the follow-up letter, I'll give you some of these examples for you to see things that I created. I created fun timers. I teach a class on Game of Thrones and ethics. I created a timer that was a dragon that would roar after a given number of minutes for a timer for my class. That I created using Lovable, and ChatGPT helped me do it. Now, there's something called GitHub. If you don't know what it is a free repository where you can host your own apps, HTML pages, games, or so on. And what you need to do is you need to program the HTML pages inside GitHub and also put in there your images, your videos, whatever you want in there. Talk about intimidating. I had never used it before. I had ChatGPT, hey, teach me how to use that thing. Here's what I want. And then it guided me through the process of setting up an HTML page that I then hosted on GitHub. Yesterday, I tested a new app with my students in a virtual class. How fun is that? Okay. Examples. Oh, cool. I had already put the examples. I forgot about that. So degrees of trust. I'm just checking here my time. I'm still okay. So I want to show you what I mean by that. I think I have to stop here and go. This is what I'm talking about. This is the kind of stuff that you can do with Twine. I did this on my own. So this is one of those typical branched exercises, by the way, in case you're wondering. Yes, the image was created with ChatGPT as well, with DALL-E specifically. So you pick one thing and then you pick another one and so on. So this is the kind of thing that I created there. This is the, once you watch it, you can see the other things I did. You can click on them and see how they work. The dragon timer, some Uno cards that people would just click and then they would have a discussion. And then yesterday I created this big gong activity that is a team building activity in which people have to share information with each other. Super fun. And all those things I'll make available to you for you to use. Okay, so lessons learned in the process. The first one is that the prompts are incredibly important. So exactly what you tell ChatGPT to do. It's garbage in, garbage out. You very easily become complacent because it's so easy for you just to write in normal English what it is that you want, that there's the expectation that, okay, whatever it is that I type here, ChatGPT is going to interpret that and give me perfectly what I want. The problem is sometimes yes and sometimes no. It can, I'll talk about the defaults in a moment, but if you don't override some of the defaults, sometimes you get a bunch of garbage, and that's what we call hallucination. Now, the good news, because you're wondering, okay, if it's all in the prompts, then how do I get a nice prompt? Ask the ChatGPT to refine the prompt. So basically, I will write this very complicated prompt, and I will say, all right, I know this is very complicated. Help me fix this prompt. How can I, what do you understand from this prompt? How can I fix this prompt? And then eventually I get the prompt that ChatGPT understands. It tells me what it understands. I say, yes, go ahead. And then I get much better results. Hallucination. When we talk about hallucination, people usually think about fake facts, as in inventing sources that don't exist, giving you information that is not there. And yes, that's hallucination, but there's much more to hallucination than that. It gives you the wrong processes. It gives you the wrong code. It invents information you never gave it. So for example, I give it a whole meeting that I had and I ask it to organize it, and all of a sudden I see some stuff there that never showed up in the meeting. And that's because of the defaults. I hope I have a slide about that. Okay. Here's what I meant by the default. And this, by the way, I found out because I kept asking ChatGPT, what's going on behind the scenes? Why am I getting weird results? And it kept telling me what some of the defaults were. The first one is that it summarizes it. It's programmed to summarize things, not to give you exactly what you gave it. So if you want exact information, then you need to tell it that you don't want a summary. It's trained to seek logical patterns and specifically to give you the most common solution or the most used solution, not an extensive quantity of solutions, which means that all of a sudden you can get stuck in something that is unusual and it doesn't notice that. Um, it has saved information. So for example, I was asking it to help me do something with Canva. Well, there's something that used to work with Canva, so it's somewhere on the web still, and it kept giving me that information instead of giving me the new one. So some of my solutions to that, I do ask what is happening behind the scenes, and I do that by coming up with my own codes, and that's something that I would recommend. ChatGPT has its own long-term memory in which it keeps some of the things that you ask it to remember through the chat. So one of the things that I determined is teach me. And teach me, ChatGPT knows that what I mean by that is explain what's happening behind the scenes. Troubleshoot, tell me what possibly could be going wrong. And I programmed that to give me more information than just the most logical. I say, for example, when I say troubleshoot, give me multiple reasons for this failure. Do not assume user error. So ChatGPT already knows what I mean by that code. Abobrinha is, I'm Brazilian, and it's code for, it's the Portuguese word for nonsense. So ChatGPT knows, because ChatGPT is bilingual for me, that when I say no abobrinha mode, it means do not invent, do not fill in the blanks, do not do anything that has not been absolutely verified. So having those codes is very useful. And then finally, create the fun persona. You probably have heard of a lot of people who have assigned names and who have assigned, yeah, like mine, for example, is called Alex. Um, the advantage of having a persona is not only that it's fun, it's that that persona becomes associated with your codes, with your style, with how you like things. So then the results I get are far more accurate when I ask Alex to come on board than when I simply ask a random question. So creating your fun persona is a good idea. And finally, don't be afraid to break things. Learn by doing. The next webinar, when you receive this email, you're going to also find out what it is. It's going to be in August. I'm taking the month off in July. It's Trust Matters, Building Trust and Leadership. I hope many of you come back to it. And finally, I need to make a plug for my wonderful university, Barry. We not only have the Leadership and Innovation Masters I talked about, but we also have an MBA, Masters in Human Resource Development, Public Administration, and you can be anywhere because we teach those classes. Many of them asynchronously. The Leadership and Innovation specifically is synchronously online, which means that you take those classes via Teams every week. You could be anywhere. And I am finishing at 12:29. However, I am not in a hurry. So if you guys have questions, I will be happy to answer. I'm just trying to figure out how on earth I answer. So I think I'm going to stop sharing, guys, end the session, stop sharing, and then use good old-fashioned chat because it's easier for me to do that. So somebody asked for my contact information. It's cwildermuth@barry.edu. So please feel free to send me an email if you have a question. If there's anything that I can help you with, don't hesitate to ask. I have fun with these webinars. I have fun helping participants, so it's not a problem. Just write me and ask me anything you would like. And if anybody has any other questions, the presentation is officially over. However, I'm happy to stay behind a little bit to ask questions to you. And I'm going to stop. What I am going to do is stop recording now. All right, stopping recording. Stop.